Hello there. Is this you? Average height, below average looks, and an unyielding yearn to have the greatest squat that you can produce? But you know that it's not quite up to snuff with what it should be, and small flaws in your form are causing you to lose gains off the top. Well, then do I have some good news for you, because these tips today will fix common mistakes when it comes to squatting. Prepare yourself, because you're in for some gains. The three flaws that are most common when it comes to squats, anyone at any level, are as follows: depth, folding, and knee pinch. The first topic of today's video is going to be depth. Depth simply means that you're not squatting deep enough. Your hip crease is not going below the top of your knee.
Well, he was talking a lot of smack yesterday at the press conference, and I loved it. Yeah.
There are two movements that will help you build consistency in your depth to make sure that you are getting your squats passed in competition. And you don't need any special equipment in order to perform these two fixes. The first method to build consistency in the depth in your squat is often used by beginner lifters who are finding depth for the first time. To do this, you have to find a box and set it approximately at your depth. It's better to go deeper than not. If you set the box up too high, you're going to build muscle memory with the depth at a higher level. You want the box situated so that your hip crease, the bottom of your hip crease, goes below the top of your knee. You want to practice this as much as possible because muscle memory is going to be the key difference between squatting to depth above 95% and squirreling out a squat that doesn't pass in competition. The next method that will help build consistency in your depth on squats is a step further than doing box squats where you're just tapping and going. Doing paused squats at or below depth is going to build more muscle memory. It's going to cement that muscle memory. Where box squats where you're doing tap and go is going to basically write depth on your internal system in pencil, doing pause squats is going to use permanent marker to help you develop that muscle memory as to where depth is. Doing these frequently and efficiently is going to build a consistent standard within yourself, within your muscle memory, to help you have good depth in competition, where it matters most. The next issue that we're going to talk about is knee pinch in squats. Knee pinch kind of looks like this. Knee pinch in the squats is indicative of your glutes either overactivating or underactivating while producing power at the bottom of your squats. It looks like your knees pinching on the way up. The best way to combat this is to basically double down on what's causing your knees to pinch in the first place and adding a hip circle or a band around your knees so that you have to push out against the hip circle or band while you're squatting. Building this is going to build muscle memory in your legs to help you develop good habits while squatting. You are going to be naturally learning to push out against the hip circle or the band. And when you take the hip circle or band off, you're going to have less of that knee pinch and you're going to be able to have a more efficient, more healthy, less likely to be injured squat because you won't be knee pinching as much, if at all, once you have this down to a science. Once you build that muscle memory, you're going to be on your way for some big PRs. The third biggest thing that happens when people are starting to learn to squat, and a common mistake, the most common mistake throughout all levels of powerlifting, is folding. Folding looks like this from the side, where your hips start to shoot up before the rest of your upper body. This causes a lot of strain on your erectors. Your erectors are the muscles that help you stand up out of that folded position. This usually happens due to two reasons. It is either because you have too low of a low bar, where the bar is too low on your back, too close to your armpit, and you end up starting in a position that's already compromising where you're folded over frontwards. To fix this, all you got to do is bring the bar further up. You don't want to go too high because you don't want to be squatting too much like a high bar, but having the bar too low is almost as bad as not even having the bar in the right place at all, because that's exactly what's happening. The next thing that can cause your hips to shoot up before your upper body is you sliding down onto your toes. This means that your center of gravity is not in the correct position and you're actually on your toes. And this brings your knees forwards, your hips up, and it can actually reduce the amount of depth that you have, which is not good in competition because that can cause you to get red lights. So what you want to do is you want to practice getting back on either your heels or the middle of your foot. The prime spot for your center of gravity is in the middle of your foot. You may feel like you're overcompensating by going onto your heels, but that's just because you're so used to getting on your toes. It may feel like you're going to fall backwards, but that is simply something that you'll have to get over. You have to practice sitting back onto your heels to the middle of your foot to practice actually setting your center position, your center of mass in the correct position on your foot. You can do this with a couple accessory exercises. One accessory exercise is arm strapped sissy squats. Sissy squats usually means that you have a strap around your knees and you're sitting backwards. This lets you sit onto your heels a little more aggressively, but you don't want to build any sort of dependence on anything going on in your lower body. You don't want to build up negative muscle memory. You don't want to build up negative habits in your muscle memory when you're trying to correct a flaw in your squat. So grab some sort of strap. I'm using a tricep push down cable attachment here, and strap it around a rigid surface and practice sitting back onto your heels and doing lots and lots of squats like this. Build muscle memory of you sitting back and setting the center position, the center of mass, further back on your feet off of your toes. Now you got all the keys that you need in order to break past some of your plateaus, the plateaus that you've developed from negative habits. Building up positive muscle memory concerning itself with positive movements, good habits in your movement patterns, and practicing it over and over again is going to help you break past those plateaus, because at 95% and above, your body is going to rely on your muscle memory more than anything else. So by practicing this and warming up with these exercises to create positive muscle memory, positive movement patterns, practice makes progress, not perfect, because none of us are perfect. You're going to be breaking through your plateaus. Go out there, fix your flaws, and get your gains, because you've earned it.